On that foundation, let us welcome our dear sister today, Tanya Chandler, to give us our message. It is up to us. Let's give her a big hand. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It's really nice to see you all. And I apologize, I haven't come here more often, but I'm going to try. Thank you so much for those testimonies. It was really, really moving. I think it does lay a really nice foundation for my message. And I always feel a bit of a hypocrite when I give a message, as maybe everyone does who gives a sermon, because we're not completely living by those ideals that I may be speaking about. But this message is very much about things that have been on my heart lately, so I hope it can touch your heart in some way today. So, I haven't been going to services lately. Since having my daughter, who's 2.5 years old, there presents some challenges there, also distance. But I have been, almost every week, listening to all the sermons. When I'm cleaning, when I'm baking, I'm a baker at home. That's my business. And I just have to say, it's been really illuminating to hear so many different perspectives and to realize actually how every person who's given a message or shared a testimony has so much to offer. And it's always been somewhat, transformational in some way for myself. So that's just a little reminder that, you and everyone have something unique to offer. Bless you. So today's sermon is, It's Up to Us. And this is very much about taking responsibility, as you might think, But it's also about the process of healing pain and creating peace. And just to say, I don't think I am a person to speak on pain, but I've gone through some things in the last couple of years that have really made me realize how much pain there really is in the world and how much everyone has their own pain. And true parents in particular who've actually been seeking to experience that pain and to heal it as well. So I appreciate that testimony about our true parents. So yes, lately I've been thinking a lot about true parents and true father, his Songwa anniversary, and true mother. And thinking even about what will it be like, when true mother leaves us for the spirit world. And I think that's a whole other reflection, and a whole other thing to discuss and really look at together as a community. But I'm also thinking about the harsh realities of daily life that we all go through. And, thinking also about the many BCs, many blessed children who have gone through some really difficult things, in our movement and just in their lives in general. So, when I reflect on the things that I've gone through, I sometimes go back to the question, why am I still here? And, I've come to some of these conclusions, which I'll talk about in this message. So first of all, I really admire true parents. I'm realizing more and more how much they're the first of their positions in this whole humanity. The first ones, true father, the first one to be the second coming. In a sense, he's the first of that kind of role. True mother, who's the first, being the first coming of Eve. And that is a very, very kind of beautiful and almost complex thing to understand, which I don't fully understand myself, but I really respect true parents and what they've taken on in their lives. And so they were the first to lay all the foundations that we stand on. That's for sure. I'm here because of them. All of my fellow blessed children are here because of them. And they were here to live that sacrificial life and to bring about that vision of the ideal, which is God-centered families and a God-centered world, bringing God back into everything. The actual creator, bringing him back into our awareness and to our lives. And yeah, so that's the ideal. So, next one. Oh. So here's this quote from Reverend Sun Myung Moon, who we call True Father, on the 8th of January, 1984. God created everything within the universe for the purpose of love. He did not seek for greater material wealth, more knowledge, or more power over others. Just like us, God needs love. Thus, we can clearly understand God's agony. Although he created mankind, he has never received the fruits of his love. So that's a key phrase right there. Just like us, God needs love. Right there, I think we can start to connect deeper with God because we all have our own experience and pain in a way. And he also wants love just as we do. So in a way, the ball is in our court. You know, it's up to us to give back that love to God. You know, that it's really in our court. He's loving, and you know, he's not visible. In a way, he's visible in all of us and in this world and creation, and it's miraculous. And yet we have this block, you know. So it is up to us to work to get through that block and to overcome certain things and to see the beauty. So, okay. So yes, true parents have laid a big foundation. They've made many important checkpoints in history, you know, big proclamations. And I think it's really precious to see that they are building a strong foundation for the future, something for us to shoot for, something for us to build towards. If they don't build it, then where are we going to go? You know, they're setting the stage in a way for us to take place, to take ownership. But what about us in our day-to-day lives and the things that we experience, you know, the pain, all the little things that make up our experience of life. It's just tiny little things, but they make up our whole view and our concept of life. So in a way, I could understand how true parents came to undo this darkness, this historical darkness. But it's much harder to understand that about my parents, you know, because I think as a child, as a direct child of my parents, all of us need lots and lots of love as children, and no parent is perfect. So they essentially almost can't give you that full love that we all really need. So, yeah, of course then it was hard to understand that my parents had this mission and had to sacrifice and took on the mission of true parents, and which is, you know, truly amazing and admirable. And only through digesting, you know, my own experiences growing up, was I able to understand that more and appreciate it and to be grateful for it. So it's still a process, because it means filling up myself with that love that, you know, I felt I was missing. And yeah, so it's much more nuanced, you know. There's a personal responsibility in there to fill with love and to seek the love from God, and not blame my parents, you know. Because they did the best they could, and they did a wonderful job, I think. So when I think about maybe other blessed children, I've growing up been hearing, you know, they see our movement as maybe hypocritical or contradictory, or because we have this really big vision and we preach beautiful ideals and family values, but then maybe what they saw was the opposite of that, you know, parents having to leave their children behind, and that's just been necessary in those ways. But I think it's really because the difference, you know, between where we are right now and our reality and the difficult things we go through is so different, so far from the ideal. And that's where you can see this kind of, you know, not hypocrisy, but difference. And Yeah. I think it's the same in any religion, right? That's why people tend to put down religion, because they preach the ideals, but then it's hard to actually put them in practice, and to actually love your neighbor, to actually, show that generosity and forgiveness. It is so, so hard to actually forgive someone if you've been hurt by them. So that's why religion gets a bad rap, It's like, why? Yeah. But then again, my understanding is that we need an ideal to go towards. We need something to actually shoot for and build towards. Otherwise, we're just going to stay on this level. And we need that beacon, to keep guiding us in the right direction. So to me, that's always what it's been, not a contradiction, not a hypocrisy, but just this is what we're shooting for. And true parents have always been encouraging us to do that. Like parents, just really staying on the track. And I know my parents were always doing that too. In the end, it was just really love that I wanted. That was just really what I wanted. So it's up to us to do the daily work and to make that vision eventually become a reality. So I say eventually because it is a process. It takes time. Even though we're the only ones alive on this earth right now, all 8 billion people, we are the only ones though. People have gone to the spirit world, people will come after us, but we're the only ones alive and breathing right now, which is precious. Have you heard about the analogy, like we're in the arena and spirit world is in the stands looking at us and cheering us on and, what are they going to do next? That's how I feel it is, that it's very precious every moment that we're here and what we do next. Yes. So I think true parents had a very short time to build this foundation, a very short time in a way, and they have built it. And our parents, first generation, I thank you so much for also building this foundation, because it's there. The foundation for that peaceful world is there, and it will happen. And now it's just going to take time for us to get there. And even true parents, true father has said, right, it will take 7 to 10 generations or so to actually see the reality of Chanoguk, which is the heavenly world, which is, the ideal world, the ideal kingdom. So I really, really thank each one of you and true parents for that. I really do. So we can't be surprised, though, if our families are struggling, if I struggle, if you struggle with something, it is going to take time. And it requires that compassion, for ourselves. Just like if you're going to start a long road trip or a 10-hour car journey, you don't expect to get there right after starting the ignition. We've started the car, like it's ready to go. But yeah, it will take time and attention to slowly but surely get to our destination. So, peace starts with me. I pretty much always use this in any message I give, because it just really does always come down to us, each and every one of us. And it's a beautiful, hopeful phrase, but recently, I've come to, discovered, undergone some family trauma. And that's what I've been kind of coping with these last couple years. And it made me realize that every person has their own amount of trauma, personal or in their family, or even historical, if they understand from their ancestors. But in discovering this traumatic event in my family, I began to question everything. Began to question my faith. I questioned God's existence. I questioned my relationships. And I think I was quite naive before. realizing that, peace doesn't come easily. It does not come easily. And I didn't realize that blessed families could undergo something so difficult, so terrible. And I think it was a wake-up call, though, to the reality of all of our families and ourselves, that we do have things that we carry and want to heal. So I appreciated the blessed children who may have gone through things, and left because of it, because it's just too difficult, So personally, I'm still on my own healing journey, but I want to heal for the sake of generational healing. I want to heal to help my children be better, and their children to be more free, to live more authentically and lovingly. So there's this quote that really spoke to me. It's from Matthew chapter 16, verse 25. "Those who seek to gain their lives will lose them, but those who lose their lives for my sake will find them." So it really is as difficult as dying to change, I think. To act, and dying, this means to lose your life, like to lose your ego, and to face something that maybe you felt safe with, it was a part of you. But if you can actually face it and lose it, you can gain new life and new confidence. So going through my own process of accepting trauma in my family, I realized that it is very, very difficult to face, for sure, and it takes a lot of time. But in so doing, I did feel a new security grow, a new strength and a new faith in God. I think it was necessary in a way, maybe for each of us, to question, to break down, question things, even though it's painful, but then come to a newer and deeper and more real understanding of God and my faith. I found lots of hope and strength in realizing my relationship with God will keep changing, will keep growing, will keep deepening. And it was always fixed before somehow. I had a concept of God. And now it's just growing, and I'm realizing it's growing while I meet new people as well, because God is in each of us. So it's up to us to also notice our conscience and to follow it. So, has anyone had pangs of conscience before, when it really hits you, something telling you you need to do something or change something? It can be kind of painful, but I would say, we have to listen to the niggling feelings and intuition in ourselves when something needs to change, when something is wrong, when we need to take action. You've heard the phrase, "the devil is in the details." Yeah, God is in the details too. The details really matter. It's in the details that the kingdom of heaven is, I wish I had more specific examples for things like this. But I feel like everyone can maybe think of an example in your life where you felt something little was bothering you, was wrong. And, that one tiny feeling colors everything. It just makes everything feel not right. That's your intuition, that's your conscience speaking to you. And it's a signal to you that something needs to be dealt with. Something needs to change. So it's a good thing when we feel uncomfortable, we feel bad maybe about something, because it's a signal, to tell us to change. So even if we have down feelings or dark feelings, I think more and more I'm wanting to not be afraid of that and really see them as a calling to me to actually look into it, feel it, and change something. Do you remember True Father saying, "One hair pulls the entire body"? Like if you pull one hair, your entire body kind of feels it, and it will move to that direction. So yeah, it's that's how powerful our conscience is. One little thing bothers it, it like everything will move towards that if something needs to be addressed. So here's a quote about conscience by True Father on the 15th of April, 91. Even though human conscience is of noble character, at the same time, different men and women have different types of conscience and cannot unite them. For that reason, the Almighty created a catalyst to enable them to become one. That is the element of love. Love brings them together like glue. So therefore, conscience's ultimate direction and ultimate goal has to be love. Conscience is driving man toward love as their ultimate goal. The love Father is speaking about is the most powerful and at the same time the most inspiring. For that reason, it can step over, create a bridge all over the area. No gap can be created by love. Love fills everything, every hole. Therefore, by stepping on that love staircase, you can go all the way up to the highest possible realm. That is greater than any emperor or king, greater than any power. And this is something that's felt in the heart and not really thought about, It's something you experience. So I do think feelings and your intuition is very, very important. Lucifer felt jealous. He felt jealousy. And that made him act on it, Eve felt guilty, made her act on it, and go to Adam. So these feelings, I know feelings come and go in us, but when something is like a more serious thing and really knocking on your conscience. So it's these little insidious little feelings, that can lead us to act on things and then more actions and more actions. And that's actually what led to the fall. And it's usually secretive as well. It's in hiding. So this has led us to all the generations repeating and repeating. It's kind of, in our history. So the true parents came, Jesus came, and they introduced consulting with God, actually going to God, turning to him and her as a non-judgmental parent, or as a friend, or as a mentor, someone you can really just lay everything in front of him, and just ask him, what do you think? I feel this way, and I need your help. You can also consult your conscience, your highest teacher, and, that's consult a mentor. This is all kind of your subject position person to go to cleanse things. So there was mention in the announcements about high noon. Has anyone gone to a high noon workshop before? No? You have? Okay. I asked that, but I haven't myself. But I listen to their podcasts sometimes on Spotify, and they have a pretty good podcast. It's interesting how high noon is about sexual integrity, and they focus a lot on dealing with pornography and things like that. And related to that. But it's much deeper education about being authentically true to yourself and going into the reasons why do we have these habits, the motivations, the needs. So not just the behavior, it's really going to the needs. And it's encouraging us to look at that in ourselves with no judgment, just to seek to understand ourselves with no judgment, because we are beautiful as we are, no matter what difficult things we deal with. So I do think it's a worthwhile program. So I continue to listen to their podcast. And I love this quote. It just reminds me of that. The peace you're looking for is on the other side of the pain you don't want to feel. By Corey Muscara, author. Yeah, I think that's a key thing, when the pain is too difficult to feel. And I think that's why faith and turning to God is so powerful, because he knows us in our deepest sense, And even though he knows everything that we think and have gone through, he needs us to go to him. He needs us to identify those things and go to him. And in that way, we start to heal and even deepen our relationship with our parent, with our heavenly parent. So the last one is, it's up to us to shine the light. Illuminate the darkness. Sometimes I think about, I think in any organization, and like I'm thinking about our movement, there's a tendency to cover things up. I think that's kind of normal, to gloss over things, to make things smooth, and I think, But in terms of if painful things happen, if someone has been hurt in the heart, if an injustice has been done, that kind of thing, my vision, my hope one day was that we would all never feel the need to keep things hushed. We would feel the need to bring it out and to resolve and to heal and to make it right, make amends. It'd be amazing if our movement could do that. It'd be the first one to do that, to own up to a mistake, and then I'll save face. And it's not a criticism, it's a genuine hope that we would all become like that in our culture, not to hide anything because we're afraid of being seen as less or seen as anything different to what we want to be, So that comes down to really believing that each of us are divine sons and daughters. And, nothing can change that. So shining the light, it means that we need to share with each other sincerely and with no judgment to each other. So I heard one time someone say, healing takes place in the context of relationships. So, I love to journal. I used to journal a lot when I had the time, and pray and do conditions. And I think that was really, really beneficial for my life of faith. But when things were when there was like a problem or a struggle I faced, say if I had a crush, one time I had a crush, I was in university, and it just comes, it's a natural feeling, but I think I was just very ashamed and embarrassed and, that kind of thing. So I journaled, I prayed, and I was thinking, what is this? What do I do? So that kind of thing. And then it really helped when it kind of just spurred me to then share about it with my mom. And, sharing with a parent or someone you trust, I think is the best way to get something off your heart and figure something out. So it was in that and getting her acceptance of me, really, which I was very grateful for. And she just asked me some questions, what do you think? Where do you want it to go? Like, basically asking my conscience, what do I think? What do I really think is right in my mind to do next? And, it was just through that relationship and give and take that with a person and also my parent, which is not just a person, right? My parent, where I could really feel that love and acceptance and then actually feel like cleansed, and healed of my turmoil. I couldn't just figure it out in my own head, We need each other. And that's why we have our parents and also elders to go to. And you are my elders. You are my elders. And my sisters. And I'm really grateful that we have a community, So even that, sharing about something that's difficult, is shining a light on the darkness, that was inside myself. And it requires that sharing and that leap of faith. Do you know Mr. Rogers? He's a children's new TV show host in the 90s. Yeah, it's Mr. Rogers in the neighborhood. So he's a very kind, gentle man who had a children's program. And what he said was, anything that is mentionable is manageable. So anything that you can say, you can handle it, no matter how deep or dark or difficult the struggle or whatever it is, the pain. If you can mention it to someone, who is there for you, you can deal with it. We have that strength, and we have that strength also because we have God. It's not just a horizontal thing. It really is this kind of, a give and take with God at the center. So say it out loud, whatever it is. Even to yourself, that can be quite powerful. If you don't want to say it to anyone else, just say it out loud. Get it off your chest. So one last thing I'll say, have you heard of Marshall Rosenberg? He is a psychologist, and he has he has a program called Nonviolent Communication. And if you listen to podcasts or anything, I urge you to check it out. It's called Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg, and it is a wonderful form of communicating where you seek to understand your own feelings and needs first, and you also seek to need the other person's, to understand their needs and feelings. And in this way, it is, peaceful, empathetic. So that's another way of kind of shining the light, seeing the light in someone else, and then hopefully they can see it in you too. Okay. Oh, there's another quote. I didn't actually put it on there. Carl Jung, psychologist, is he? Yeah. He said, "Until you make the subconscious conscious, it will control your life, and you will call it fate." So that is just about identifying those feelings and those needs, and making them aware to yourself, and then you can actually work on changing them if you feel that they are problematic. Let's see. So some ways that I like to change certain things or kind of shine the light is journaling. That's a great way to actually find out what is in you, what is going on, just to get it all out, acknowledge all those things. And meditation is also important and great because it helps you gain awareness into your inner self. And then inner child work. So in my own dealing with the trauma that happened in my family, I had to look at my own light. I had to find it. I had to find who am I, Yeah, so has anyone ever done like a inner child meditation or class? I highly recommend it. If you don't understand what it is, it's just that every one of us have a child self. And like I said at the very beginning, we all need love. We all need like an immeasurable amount of love. And in the end, we're the only ones that can really give that to ourselves. Called reparenting, reparenting ourselves. Yeah. So it's all about looking in and finding your inner child, a little person who still has fears, and still has, insecurities, and going and giving them a hug. You're the adult now, you can reassure them. And this is a very strong source of healing for many people. And it is for me. So one time, in doing this, I realized that spirituality and connection with the divine is such a power and a beacon. If we can really connect to that inside light, which is our spirits and our true selves. And it is such a power, and it becomes a shining light for people, if we believe in it as well. It's uninhibited. So one of the sermons I heard, which was Christmas, I heard from, I think it was Ashley Crosswaite. He talked about Jesus, and I was very touched by his sermon. He said, he mentioned how Jesus came to bear all the sins of the world and all the pain of the world as a pioneer, as the very first to do it, and in very difficult circumstances. And that means for me that he experienced all, or most, or all the hardships that everyone experiences and has experienced, so that I can feel, yes, you understand this pain, Jesus. You understand me, and you went through it too. And he wanted to. He did that suffering. He went through the suffering like true parents, so that he can really feel with us too and help us grow out of that, show us the way actually out of that. So he overcame it with his love for God and his love for humanity. He showed us to love and forgive those who wronged us. So, would anyone like to read this next quote? Otherwise, I'll try and read it. So true parents also showed us how to forgive and love. He wrote The Crown of Glory, this poem, when True Father was 15 years old. And I know you all know it, but please quiet your hearts, take a deep breath, and just feel the words. Yeah? When I doubt people, I feel pain. When I judge people, it is unbearable. When I hate people, there is no value to my existence. Yet if I believe, I am deceived. If I love, I am betrayed. Suffering and grieving tonight, my head and my hands, am I wrong? Yes, I'm wrong. Even though we are deceived, still believe. Though we are betrayed, still forgive. Love completely, even those who hate you. Wipe your tears away and welcome with a smile those who know nothing but deceit and those who betray without regret. Oh, Master, the pain of loving. Look at my hands. Place your hand on my chest. My heart is bursting, such agony. But when I love those who acted against me, I brought victory. And if you have done the same thing, I'll give you the crown of glory. So all true parents want us to do is get back to God. Thank you. And it's a hard journey. But I think something like this, it was always hanging up in my room when I was growing up. Yeah. So, true parents are here. True mother's still here. Amazingly. And all they want is to help us cut through all the noise. Cut through all the doubts that we have. And, get to the pureness of who we really are. We are all innately good, and we all have loving hearts. And God never wants us to doubt ourselves again, or to doubt him. So, if you can, have a copy of this where you can see it to help give strength. And I look forward to getting to know all of you and how you've actually overcome, your painful experiences in life with God. So yes, it really is up to us and what we do daily with the tiny things as well as the big things. And we're here to encourage each other and be there for each other while we do it. So I thank you all so much for listening. Thanks.